featuring me, Alvaro.
Here's the right medial lobe, the right lateral lobe, the left medial lobe, the left lateral lobe,
and the quadrate lobe.
The liver consists of two lobes, a right one and a left one. It filters the blood.
The liver produces bile, converts glucose to glycogen for storage, detoxifies constituents of the absorbed digestive compounds. In anatomy, serosus membrane, or serosa, is a smooth tissue membrane consisting of two layers of mesothelium, which secretes serous fluid. The inner layer that covers organs and body cavities is called the visceral membrane. A second layer of epithelial cells of the serous membrane, called the parietal layer, lines the body wall. Between the two layers of potential space, mostly empty except for a few milliliters of lubricating serous fluid that is secreted by the two serous membranes.
The diaphragm is a thin skeletal muscle that sits at the base of the chest and separates the abdomen from the chest. It contracts and flattens when you inhale. This causes a vacuum effect that pulls air into the lungs. When you exhale, the diaphragm relaxes and the air is pushed out of the lungs.
The stomach muscles contract periodically, churning food to enhance digestion. Also, it produces hydrochloric acid, pepsinogen, that aid in chemical breakdown of food.
The lower sphincter, or cardiac sphincter, at the upper portion of the stomach. This sphincter prevents the acidic contents of the stomach from moving upward into the esophagus. The pyloric sphincter are at the lower end of the stomach. Pyloric sphincter plays an important role in digestion, where it acts as a valve to control the flow of partially digested food from the stomach to the small intestine.
This is the small intestine. The duodenum receives chyme from the stomach with secretory enzymes from the gallbladder and pancreas. Next is the jejunum. It is responsible for nutrient absorption and reabsorption of water.
The chyme is an acidic fluid which passes from the stomach to the small intestine, consisting of gastric juices and partly digested food.
This is the spleen. The spleen plays multiple supporting roles in the body. It acts as a filter for blood as a part of the immune system. Old red blood cells are recycled in the spleen, and the platelets of white blood cells are stored there. The spleen also helps fight certain kinds of bacteria that cause pneumonia and meningitis.
The pancreas is a gland organ. Enzyme or digestive juices are secreted by the pancreas into the small intestine. There, it continues breaking down food that has left the stomach. The pancreas also produces the hormone insulin and secretes it into the bloodstream, where it regulates the body's glucose or sugar level. The gallbladder is a small pouch that sits under the liver. The gallbladder stores bile produced by the liver. After meals, the gallbladder is empty and flat like a deflated balloon. Before a meal, the gallbladder may be full of bile and about the size of a small pear.
The salivary gland, which is located in the mouth, secretes digestive enzymes to start chemical breakdown of food and lubricate food to swallow.
Next is the leftover products from digestion.
The trachea is a wide hollow tube that connects the larynx to the bronchi of the lungs. It is an integral part of the body's airway and has a vital function of providing airflow to and from the lungs for respiration.
The esophagus, located behind the trachea, is a muscular tube connecting the throat with the stomach. The esophagus is about 8 inches long and is lined with moist pink tissue called mucosa. The esophagus runs behind the windpipe, aka the trachea and heart, and in front of the spine.
The peristalsis is an involuntary constriction and relaxation of the muscles of the intestine or another canal. It's creating a wave-like movements that push the contents of the canal forward.
This is the bolus. Bolus is food that has been chewed and mixed in the mouth with saliva. Chewing helps to reduce food particles to a size readily to swallow. Saliva adds digestive enzymes, water, and mucus that help chemically to reduce food particles, hydrate them for taste, and lubricate them easy for swallowing.
The heart has 4 chambers. The right atrium receives oxygen, poor blood from the body and pumps it into the right ventricle. The right ventricle pumps the oxygen, poor blood to the lungs. Now the left atrium receives oxygen-rich blood from the lungs and pumps it to the left ventricle. And the left ventricle pumps the oxygen-rich blood to the body.
These are the lobes of the lungs. Here is the right cranial lobe, the right quadrant lobe, the left cranial lobe, and the left quadrant lobe. Each of these lobes bring oxygen into the bloodstream and remove carbon dioxide.
These are the kidneys. They help the body pass waste as urine. They also help filter blood before sending it back to the heart. The kidneys perform many crucial functions, including creating hormones that help produce red blood cells, promoting bone health, and regulating blood pressure.
A nephron is the basic unit of structure in a kidney. A nephron is used to separate to water, ions, and small molecules from the blood, filter out waste and toxins, and return needed molecules to the blood.
Glomerulus is a cluster of nerve endings, spores, or small blood vessels, in particular a cluster of capillaries around the end of a kidney tubule, where waste products are filtered from the blood. Filtrate is formed as soon as the water and its solutes leave the glomerular capillary and enter the Bowman's capsule. Filtrate contains proteins, but by the time filtrate has moved into the collecting ducts, it has lost most of its water, nutrients, and essential ions.
Saliva produced in salivary glands. Human saliva is 99.5% water, but also contains many important substances, including electrolytes, mucus, antibacterial compounds, and various enzymes.
The medulla is in the brain, which helps regulate breathing, heart and blood vessel functions, digestion, sneezing, and swallowing. This part of the brain is also the center for respiration and circulation.
Located in the lower torso, the pelvis is a sturdy ring of bones that protects the delicate organs of the abdominal pelvic cavity while anchoring the powerful muscles of the hip, thigh, and abdomen. Several bones unite to form the pelvis, including the sacrum, coccyx, and the left and right coxal bones. The urinary bladder is a muscular sac in the pelvis, just above and behind the pubic bone. When empty, the bladder is about the size and shape of a pear. Urine is made in the kidneys and travels down two tubes called ureters to the bladder. The bladder stores urine, allowing urination to be infrequent and controlled. The ureter is a tube that carries urine from the kidney to the urinary bladder. There are two ureters, one attached to the kidney. The upper half of the ureter is located in the abdomen and lower half is located in the pelvic area.
The epididymis is a long tube that stores the sperm and transports it from the testes. The testicles are two small oval-shaped sex glands that produce sperm and sex hormones. The spermatic cord facilitates the passage of semen and supplies blood to the testicles. The urethra is a tube that carries urine from the bladder to the outside of the body. The urethra is not only a urinary duct, but it is also a conduit for semen and sperm.